Hello, forever friends and family. I would like to welcome everybody to our webinar when we read, study, and implement knowledge from the book by the title Transforming Anxiety. The cover of the book right up front of you. I said it in English, and now I'm going to send the same in Russian. Я рад приветствовать всех, кто к нам присоединился сегодня, где мы изучаем книгу «Преобразование страхов или волнений». А теперь мы перейдем сейчас на последнюю обложку, не на последнюю, а на обложку, заднюю обложку этой книги, где Лена нам прочитает на английском языке все, что там будет, а Зоя по моей просьбе переведет на русский язык. Я вас рад еще раз приветствовать, дорогие друзья, на этом вебинаре. Ну что ж, поехали. Я очень хочу, чтобы это было коротко на русском и на английском. Я, кстати, сегодня с Зоей поделился, что я получил пару звонков о том, что люди благодарят, что вот так вот мы придумали, чтобы именно cover переводить на русский, потому что иногда люди попадают туда, не зная, о чем речь идет, у которых не говорят и не понимают по-английски, а когда они смотрят и слышат перевод на русский язык, у них немножко интерес становится ярче к тому, что здесь происходит. Лена, пожалуйста, читай. Зоя, пожалуйста, переводите. Поехали.
Okay, good evening, everybody. The perfect antidote to anxiety. Feelings of anxiety can sap your energy, joy, and vitality. But now the scientists at the Institute of HeartMath have adopted their revolutionary techniques into a fast and simple program that you can use to break free from anxiety once and for all.
Добрый вечер всем. Прекрасное средство от чувства тревоги. Чувства беспокойства или тревоги могут забирать вашу энергию, радость и жизненность. Но сегодня ученые Института математики сердца внесли свои реляционные методы в очень быструю программу, которая поможет распрощаться с беспокойством и тревогой раз и навсегда.
At the core of the HeartMath method is the idea that our thoughts and emotions affect our heart rhythms. By focusing on positive feelings such as an appreciation, care, or compassion, you can create coherence in these rhythms with amazing results. Using the HeartMath method, you'll learn to engage your heart to bring your emotions, body, and mind into balance. Relief from anxiety, optimal health, and high performance all day long will follow.
В основе Института математики сердца этого метода лежит идея, что наши мысли и эмоции влияют на ритм сердца. Путем фокусировки на позитивных чувствах, таких как признательность, забота или сочувствие, мы можем создать созвучие в этих ритмах, и это принесет замечательные результаты. Используя метод Института математики сердца, мы научимся использовать свое сердце чтобы привести свои эмоции, тело и ум в баланс. И после этого наступит облегчение от тревоги, чувства тревоги и беспокойства, будет оптимальное здоровье и высокая производительность целый день.
Okay, here is the quotation. A powerful guide to using positive emotions and loving kindness to reduce anxiety is in its myriad forms. Drawing on science and common sense, the HeartMath tools will be helpful to anyone when practiced as taught in this straightforward and easy to read book. This is from Frederick Laskin, PhD, Director of the Stanford Forgiveness Project and author of Forgive for Good.
Очень сильный, замечательный справочник по использованию позитивных эмоций и любящей доброты, чтобы уменьшить чувство беспокойства в ее различных формах. Используя науку и чувство common sense, это чувство разума, Институт математики сердца, его все методы помогут каждому в практике, и это очень простой и легкий способ, который описан в книге.
Спасибо, Лена. Спасибо, Зоя. Мы сейчас будем продолжать читать. Но я хочу еще сказать несколько слов по поводу этой книги. Я однозначно считаю, прежде чем перейду к самой книге, что здоровье должно быть для всех, для нас priority номер один. Это должно быть самое главное в нашей жизни. Почему? Потому что если, не дай бог, у нас проблемы со здоровьем, мы становимся обузой себе и своим родным и близким. Я не говорю уже о бизнесе, что мы не можем помочь, у нас не хватает сил помочь своим партнерам по бизнесу или вообще кому-то помочь. Поэтому здоровье должно быть самым главным, самой главной задачей в жизни, чтобы это поддерживать. The number one priority for our lives should be our personal health, our personal well-being. If we cannot care about ourselves, we will be. I tried to figure out what the best word to translate to English. We will be additional pain in the neck, I should say, to our family, friends, and relatives. So priority number one should be health before business, before anything. If we don't have health, we don't have anything at all. And this book helped us to be healthy in this awful time as we do have right now. What I mean by awful time, there are a lot of challenges. After 2 years fighting with COVID-19, now when we have some kind of relief, after 2 years, 2020, 2021, then all of a sudden there is a war between Russia and Ukraine, which will affect all entire globe and special Russian-speaking people. После 2 лет, после того, как мы, так сказать, выстояли, и не побоюсь сказать этого слова, мы все, которые здесь и наши близкие, победили в этой тяжелой борьбе с COVID-19, мы только вздохнули с облегчением, пытаясь начать год 2022 в правильном формате, когда произошла эта безобразная, абсолютно ужасная война между Россией и Украиной, которая отразилась, конечно, на многих из нас, и особенно на русскоязычном населении этого шарика. Сейчас вы мне скажете, что вы увидите на экране. Сейчас, одну секунду, пожалуйста, и мы начнем читать. Лена, ты видишь, да?
Да, текст пошел.
Поехали. Nature's Care Programming, пожалуйста.
Okay, Nature's Care Programming. Nature has programmed care right into the DNA. In many species, care is associated with nurturing. Watch a mother lovingly attend her newborn, or a father sacrifice his own meal to feed the family, and you'll see that nurturing is a natural response. When you love, you care, and when you care, you take care of or nurture others. Care generates a sense of security and connection, a life-affirming bond. Yet, surprisingly, if you look up care in most dictionaries, the first definition often refers to a troubled or burdened state of mind, worry, a disquieted state of mixed uncertainty, apprehension, and responsibility. A cause for such anxiety, painstaking of watchful attention. But this is what we are calling overcare. True care shows up several lines later in our Webster's definition. to feel love for, to look after, provide for, attend to. For many in society, care has become overcare instead, a source of burden, worry, anxiety, and even manipulation rather than a nurturing experience. If you're like most anxiety sufferers, your root motive is to care, and that's good. You care that you look good, do a good job, get a promotion, are thought well of, or have enough money to provide for the well-being of your children or help take care of others. But when you don't manage over identity, over attachment to those cares, they turn into overcare, and often without realizing it, you end up frustrated or anxious, drained, and exhausted. John and Sandy spent their lives rushing to fix breakfast, rushing to get the kids to school, rushing themselves to work, rushing the kids to after-school lessons, soccer, swim team, theater, rushing to get dinner, rushing to clean the house and pay the bills, then dropping exhausted into bed only to have to rise early the next day to do it all again. Their schedule was frustrating and anxiety producing to both of them as well as to the kids. They felt bad that they didn't have much family time together, but couldn't see any way out. They said they did it because they cared and wanted their children to have the best. The overcare phenomenon. Care is noble, but overcare, rushing to keep a superhuman schedule because you're afraid of what might happen if you stop or slow down, will drain your energy and vitality in life. In the same way, worrying about others, a common type of overcare, can backfire because it often makes people feel smothered or manipulated, which can cause them to push you away. Celeste believed that she wasn't loving mother to her children unless she was constantly worrying about them. Even though the children were 35 and 42, she worried when she had a cold, worried that something might happen when they went on vacation. And when they visited, she worried whether they were dressed warmly enough when they went outdoors, just as she had always done since they were little. After all, she was a mother, and this is what mothers do. To Celeste, her worry, which translates as overcare, expressed her love for them. To the kids who were now adults, Celeste's overcare made them want to avoid her. As a result, they rarely called or visited. Celeste developed anxiety-related health problems, according to her doctor, but she was unaware, in denial, of the fact that she was feeling anxiety. Celeste equated worrying about her children with love, and she saw it as an endearing quality. What she was unable to see was how her overcare was more about her remaining in the role she had played all her life than it was about true care. The role was familiar and had defined her sense of who she was. She didn't see that everything could improve across the board if she would give herself permission to move into a more balanced type of care with her children. You're probably known mothers or fathers like Celeste who don't feel like they're caring unless they are worrying and anxious about their children. Years ago, when Doc Childre, one of the authors of this book, was looking at his own life, he recognized that this was also true for him. The more I cared for family, friends, work, or issues, the more worry and anxiety I had about them. What I cared most about kept giving me the most stress. Why? I kept asking myself, Well, because I care, I told myself. And I saw that this was true for most people. Suddenly, a light bulb went on inside, and many types of stress began to make sense. Most of the time, when people get anxious, they're caring about something, but in draining and usually ineffective way. Doc saw that most of his own and other people's problems started with care, but then the mind would take that care and turn it into worry and stress. So, Doc coined the term overcare to describe the kind of care that creates anxiety and stress. Overload, overwhelm, going overboard, overcare. All these terms mean doing too much to the point of undoing or downfall. Overcare is as old as history and causes endless misery. It affects men as well as women. Overcare occurs when the mind turns your genuinely caring intentions into a mental and emotional drain. Overcare and aging. Elisa Ippel, a researcher at University of California, San Francisco, studied the cells of mothers of sick children to see if caregiving stress affected part of the chromosome called a telomere. Telomeres are thought to be biological markers of aging. As people get older, telomeres naturally shrink. When the telomere gets too short to work properly, cells all over the body start to sicken or die, and diseases of old age set in. Caregiving stress is often experienced as worry or anxiety. Ippel's study found that the longer women had been caring for a child with a serious illness, the shorter their telomeres, suggesting rapid aging. But alarmingly, the study also found that high stress also affected the telomeres in the stress out mothers of healthy kids in the control group. The mothers who felt they were near burnt out in either group had shorter telomeres. In fact, when the researchers looked only at stressed out women in either group, they found a dramatic sign of damaged telomeres. The problem wasn't caring for a sick child. It was the stress of being near burnt out. According to Ippel, the amount of telomeric DNA these women had lost was equivalent to the amount one would expect to lose in 10 years of aging.
Helen, take a break. Thanks a lot for your reading. I would like to ask Zoya, please continue.
Overattachment. Closely related to overcare is overattachment. Your care becomes overattached because you're afraid of losing the thing you care so much about. Or you are overly attach yourself to someone, some place, some issue, or something in order to receive confirmation that you are valued. Overattachment can lead to a continuous running anxiety as you try to maintain that positive feedback. Overattachment sucks energy from others and makes you a victim of whether or not they approve of you. It can make you over-controlling and repress those you love while it suffocates your inner peace and security. Joan and Brad had been married for 4 years. Brad felt he couldn't do anything without being under the ever-present watchful eye of Joan. As for Joan, she just wanted him to know she was there for him. When they went to parties, Joan would spend the whole evening trying to make sure that Brad was having a good time. She would constantly ask him if he wanted another drink or let him know who was coming into the room in case he wanted to talk with them. Brad felt so suffocated by Joan's overattachment that he insisted on going to a marriage counselor. Because Joan felt so insecure about her own value and identity, she felt the need to create a reason of attachment for Brad to keep her around and not stray. Brad was feeling stifled and choked by the obsessive attention. Brad and Joan eventually divorced, leaving Joan feeling rejected and betrayed, and not understanding why. The draining cycle begins as you over-identify with a position, a situation, an issue, or a person you care about. In other words, you identify too much. You begin to overcare and want things to go a certain way. You get overattached to how you want things to turn out and are unable to see other options. You're less able to let go of that issue, that situation, or that person. When you overattach, you become obsessive. And ironically, just the opposite of what you want usually happens as a result. You get fired instead of promoted, or a person you want to bring closer avoids you, and you are astonished. After all, you cared so much. This self-destructive cycle is insidious. Overcare and overattachment can quickly spread to others and infect an entire family or workplace like an emotional virus. Here's an example of how the emotional virus typically spreads. See if you can find similar examples in your life. The emotional virus. Risa, a co-worker, storms into your office anxious and upset because of what Joe, a manager, said about a project that Risa's been working on. Can you believe that? She hissed. No way, you exclaim. You feel your anger rising. You're identifying. Risa goes on, laying out what she heard in her lunchroom. As she's talking, your mind is going a mile a minute, recalling similar incidents that have happened to you. Your anger grows stronger. Now both of you are judging and blaming Joe. You're totally over-identified. Blood pressure rising, you start worrying about what will happen. Will the bozo tell the boss? Will Reeser get stonewalled? What will you do? Will you be asked to take sides? Anxiety creeps in. You are now in overcare. You'd better protect your turf. You are already creating your strategy. Hold onto the report you're working on and don't let him see it. Your mind is manipulating next steps. Who else should you tell? Your anxiety has turned to fear. You are overattached to this whole situation. The next day, you find out that Joe never said that. It was a rumor Risa heard from someone else at lunch. This kind of thing happens every day for many of us, and it's energy spent and wasted. Even if Joe had said that, if you over-identify, you become the victim of your own and others' emotional cares. When you look at the world through the eyes of over-identity, over-attachment, and over-care, you quickly take sides based on partial information. This is what's fueling the growing epidemics of stress, anxiety, and depression. The result is often a blind refusal to understand another's point of view. This is what's behind many divorces, conflicts, riots, and wars. If you want to help those you care about or even the world, you need to start with yourself. When you don't manage overcare or overattachment, they become a habit. Your emotional stamina is drained, and that leads to lackluster quality in day-to-day experiences. When emotional quality is low, you mechanically operate at half-mast. Your peace, fun, and power to adapt are significantly reduced. You stay so stressed or anxious that you end up feeling ineffective, or that you've cared too much and you can't care anymore. Energized emotional involvement and passion toward a goal are different from worry. They open the mind to creative possibilities, but anxiety closes the mind and can delay accomplishment of a goal or spoil its celebration. Overcare is one area, often results in a lack of care in another area. It's like squeezing a balloon at one end so that it bulges at the other end. This lack of balance in care can result in small annoyances running people's joy in life. A television producer shared a quote attributed to Winston Churchill saying, "It's the broken shoelaces that destroy men's lives." She added that she finds these words coming to mind often. I can control my anger and my bigger emotions. It's not the big things that get to me anymore. The little things are what get me all day long and worry me. A friend describes it this way: stress is death from 1,000 paper cuts. You never know how many you can handle before it's too much. Expectation and perfectionism.
Zoya, thank you very much for your reading. Take a break, please, and I would like to ask to continue to read. Friend and partner, the most reliable manager from New Jersey, Iris Cristobal. Iris, please go ahead.
Hi, thank you, Alex. And thank you, Soy. Expectation and perfectionism. Another form of overcare is unreasonable expectation of others or yourself. Most people place the heaviest expectation on themselves. You expect yourself to live up to an image or ideal. When you overcare and feel guilty, when you don't measure up. Here's an example. Andy, a friend of ours, valiantly set out to take care of his health. He planned a low-fat diet and bought an expensive rowing machine. 5 days later, he still hadn't used the machine and had blown his diet with a chocolate mousse he couldn't refuse. Andy had an unrealistic expectation of himself and guilt from not achieving his expectations. Perfectionism generates inflexible attitudes and all or nothing thinking, which is what plagues Andy. He expects perfection in whatever he does. He goes all out in his planning, whether for weight loss or finding the right woman to date or the right house to buy, and often ends up disappointed. Perfectionism is a rigidity that insists that things have to be a certain way. And if they are not, then something is wrong and anxiety results. When you assess life from a perfectionist viewpoint, you tend to over personalize things that don't go your way. You feel not good enough or better than others. And this can lead you into performance anxiety, self pity, or blame. Yet, it is you who is setting idealistic or unrealistic expectations from overcare. Identifying overcare. Realize there is often a very fine line between true care, which is renewing and effective, and overcare, which is draining. You can learn to distinguish between them but by how they make you feel. To start with, ask yourself, is what I care about stress producing or stress reducing? If it's stress producing, you know there's overcare involved and it's draining your energy. If it's stress reducing, that is where your care is in balance, regenerative, and adding to your energy. Now, think back a time when you cared about something and cared so much that you found yourself anxious. Next, think back to the time when you cared about something and it felt great. That's the difference you're looking for in your feeling work. If you recognize the feelings or emotions that follow your attempts to care, you'll start to understand when your care is stress producing rather than being a renewing experience. A nurse at one of our seminars talked about compassion fatigue, a term that has become popular at the hospital where she works. During the seminar, she realized that when she feels compassion, it renews her. The fatigue and the drain come when her compassion turns into feelings of stress from overcare and over identity. It's important to learn the language of your feeling world. Make a list in your mind or on paper of who and what you care about the most to see where you are draining or adding to your energy. Create a releasing overcare and over identity worksheet. A picture of my care in your journal. Following the instructions below, this exercise will help you get a picture of your care and identify overcares, over identities, and over attachment that create anxiety. The next few chapters, you'll learn how to cut through them. Create 3 vertical columns across a piece of paper. Label the first column, what I care about. And under the heading list, the people, issues, and things you care most about in your life. Label the second column, scale 0 to 5, then assign a number, with 0 being lowest and 5 being the most extreme. To how much overcare you have around this person, item, or issue. Add the third column, overcare thoughts, feelings, actions, and describe how you think, feel, and act about what you are overcaring about. On the next page are 2 examples. What I care about, scale 0 to 5, overcare thoughts, feelings, and actions. First, my elderly father, scale is 5. Whatever I do for him never seems good enough. I get frustrated, anxious, and yell at him and feel bad. Number 2, my health appearance. 4, I worry about my health and aging. I diet and exercise, then eat the wrong foods and get too busy to exercise. I feel guilty all the time. Remember, as you do this exercise, that overcare is only human. It's not bad. It's just that when taken to extremes, it generates anxiety and guilt. Anxiety isn't bad either. It's just not a very fun or effective way to live. Overcare and anxiety rarely give you intelligent solutions. They can't. They block the brain's ability to see solutions, and that's why the mind keeps looping around, unable to find a way out. See where expectation, perfectionism, or performance anxiety are involved in the overcares you listed above. As you look at your life through the lens of overcare, you can see how a lot of your anxiety and low energy is based on real care that slipped into overcare. In fact, a picture of my care might be a better name, a picture of my anxiety. Reorganizing this can be a relief in itself. After all, you do care. Releasing overcare. The HeartMath tools, techniques, and examples in this book will show you how to release overcare and bring it back to true care. The tools are designed to help you transform overcare and anxiety mentally, emotionally, and physically. It takes practice to repattern an anxiety habit, but you can start seeing results immediately. You may find that relinquishing overcare even in one area will release overcare and anxiety about other areas at the same time. Make notes on the inside as you practice the tools and techniques in the following chapters. Heart intelligence, the essence of hope. So many people believe that life has to be anxiety-ridden and painful, and that where there is no pain, there is no gain. Religions have taught that the soul matures through trial by fire, self-doubt, angst, heartache, and despair. Through learning to connect with your heart intelligence.
Iris, I'm so sorry. Please correct your microphone. It's begin some interference and low voice.
Okay.
Oh, much better. Thank you.
Okay. Next page, please. You realize that you don't have to keep learning that way. Heart intelligence is the harmonization of feelings and thoughts. Giving your balance and intuitive common sense, you have compassion for your struggles and those others, but see how rise up to new heights of emotional freedom. It's heart intelligence that empowers you to transform anxiety, guilt, anger, and stress, and move on from there. With heart intelligence, you invite in more of your spirit and you see life through new eyes. You build true care that feels good and renews you. You live life with depth and passion, and your downtime and recovery happen a lot faster. You unravel the mysteries of life with far less effort and time wasted. Cutting through overcare is like separating the wheat of your true care from the chaff of your anxiety and insecurity. The result is that life has enhanced value and positive meaning for you. You bring forth potential hidden within your heart that you didn't know were there. You become more of who you really are. Experiencing this brings a tremendous sense of hope, and with hope comes renewed energy and passion for life. Chapter 3. Transforming Overcare and Anxiety Triggers. When a man is serene, the pulse of the heart flows and connects. Just as pearls are joined together, or like a string of red jade, then one can talk about healthy heart. The Yellow Emperor's Canon of Internal Medicine, 2500 BC. You won't stop all overcare and anxiety triggers. They're standard human reactions. But you can stop the behaviors they generate that drain your energy and coherence. Dr. Childrey, along with researchers at the Institute of HeartMath, has developed powerful yet simple tools and techniques that quickly improve how you feel, think, and perceive. With just a little practice, you will start to transform an overcare and anxiety reactions into balanced care and more ease. These tools can seem too simple, but it's their simplicity that makes them work. They harness the power of your heart and give you the intelligence and power you need to make the changes you want. Here's how they work. The role of the heart in transforming anxiety. The physical heart sets the rhythm and pace for the whole body. The respiratory and digestive systems and brain waves also generate rhythms, although they are not as strong as the heart's rhythm. Most people don't realize that the heartbeat produces 40 to 60 times more electrical amplitude than the brain and broadcasts an electrical signal that permeates every cell in the body. The strength of the heart magnetic field is 5,000 times greater than the field generated by the brain. It can be measured several feet away from the body in all directions. McCarthy 2004. The heart brain. Your heart also has its own nervous system or brain in the heart, containing around 40,000 neurons. This heart brain can sense, feel, learn, remember, and process information. Armour 2003, Armour and Kember 2004. There are more nerves going from your heart up to your brain than from your brain to your heart. Cameron 2002. This has profound implications. The rhythmic beating pattern of your heart tells the brain how the body feels. With every beat, your heart sends neural signals to the parts of your brain that govern emotion and higher reasoning capacity. Sandman, Walker, and Burka, 1982. Any change in the rhythmic pattern of your heart alters the pattern of neural activity that your brain receives and affects the way you feel and how your brain processes information. McCarthy 2005. Synchronizing your rhythm. When your heart's rhythms are harmonious, they create a coherent waveform that helps bring other internal systems into synchronization, entrainment, and alignment. We'll be using these scientific terms throughout the book. In physics, when the rhythms of two or more systems synchronize and lock into the same frequency, it's called entrainment. Systems that entrain to each other operate with increased harmony, efficiency, and flow. You can see examples of entrainment when several pendulum clocks all entrain to the beat of the clock with the strongest pendulum, or when a flock of birds or school of fish moves together in synchronized harmony. Scientific studies show that positive emotions long associated with the heart, like love, care, compassion, and appreciation, quickly brings heart rhythms into coherent waveform, as shown in Figure 1, McCarthy, 1995. Coherent heart rhythms pull your brain waves into more synchronization with the heart, which helps bring alignment to your mind and emotions. When mind and emotion align with the heart, mental clarity and intuitive perception improve. Studies have found when participants' heart rhythms were coherent, their cognitive performance significantly improved. McCarthy, 2005. A further study also found significant change in frontal lobe activity that was related to increased heart rhythm, coherence, and heart's input to the brain. McCarthy, Atkinson, and Bradley, 2004. Coherent heart rhythm patterns evoke feelings of security and well-being. When you're worried, frustrated, or anxious, your heart's rhythmic pattern becomes irregular and chaotic looking, creating an incoherent waveform like the one in Figure 2. When this occurs, the different branches of your nervous systems are pushing and pulling against each other, and your brain and heart get out of sync. This creates stress. You can think clearly and your memory can jam due to internal static or noise in your system. Worry, anxiety, and frustration are stress generators. Figure 1 shows the heart rhythm pattern typical of appreciation and other feelings. This smooth heart rhythm, measured by heart rate variability, or HRV, is what scientists call a highly ordered or coherent pattern, and is a sign of good health and emotional balance. Figure 2 shows the irregular, jerky heart rhythm pattern, typical of stressful feelings, which includes anxiety, frustration, anger, or depression. This jerky pattern is what scientists call an incoherent pattern. So, what can send your heart rhythms into incoherent patterns? Whenever you move or engage in activity, your heart rhythm naturally shifts and then settles back into baseline pattern. An incoherent baseline pattern results from many factors, but one of the strongest influences is ongoing negative thoughts and negative feelings. Macrat.
Thank you, Iris. Thank you. Let's take a break right here. We cover a lot of pages today, a lot of information for us to analyze, to swallow, to digest, and to implement. Now I have a question to everybody. Anybody would like to make any comments or any thoughts or whatever you wish to, please unmute your microphone and speak up. Thank you, Iris, again.
Alex.
Yes, go ahead.
The one that had me the most about here is like having the 1,000 paper cuts. That's the stress in life. So that one like stuck to me the most because we do have those little things that affects us, and it ruins our day because it's creating like the smallest things that bothers us sometimes.
Absolutely, yes. Thank you, Iris. These two diagrams on figure number 2 and figure number 1, it's give us a picture of what's going on with the heart rate and our emotions, a stressful situation or anything else. It's very good picture of the situation. Thank you, Iris, again. Anybody else? All right, let's move on and let's get together next Monday. As always, I would like to say thank you to all readers, Zoya, Helen, and Iris, and everybody who joined us. And I'll see you next Monday. And if you may have any questions or any advice or whatever you wish to share, you know how to reach me. Thank you very much. I'll talk to you next Monday. Thank you. Take care. Bye-bye.